Marquette 2 points away from taking a 2-1 lead in the match tonight.
And Anna Hawk serves it up, barely gets over the net. Oh! Tough break for the Trojans, 24-20, and we are going to a set point. Getting rowdy here, Meyer Wally serves. And Speckman to Barber, gets the KO! 25-21, Marquette wins set 3 and takes a 2-1 lead in this match. And it's loud here in the Al. Barely gets it over the net, they save it though. And a kill!
1 point away.
Anna Hawk gets the kill. 5 apiece, Rosenthal on the serve. Set to Botkin, blocked. Set back to Mosier, blocked again. Rose the set.
Mosier cannot.
No, it's a Marquette point! Out of bounds! Unbelievable! Good recovery. And we are going to a 5th set.
This game just won't end.
Another good rally we're seeing here. Lanier keeps it alive. Set up by Rose. Rosenthal kills it. First team to double digits, 10-8. And Eric will get the serve for the Trojans. Beckman to Barber. It's been dangerous. They're showing it. It's 13-11. Dug up by Speckman. Kanavadov sets. To Wersch, it's in. We have a game point, John Steffi.
1 point away.
Kanavadov sets to Barber. Botkin keeps it alive to Lanier. And the Golden Eagles win the game!
First win over a top 10 team in over 2 years.
Lanier went for the kill. She misplayed it. And the Golden Eagles win the 5th and final set, 3-2. Marquette, like John said, first top 10 victory in 2 years.
Here at the Al McGuire Center, presenting this top 25 matchup between the Marquette Golden Eagles and the Cougars of Brigham Young University. At this time, I'll bring in my color analyst, Zoe Comerford. Zoe, it's a great day for some volleyball.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting it's going to be a super exciting game with these two top, really high-ranking teams. It's going to be a great game, and it's always so nice in the Al McGuire Center.
Tries the same thing. And Hope Wirtz with the kill. Able to capitalize on the error there by BYU. 17-16 now.
It's a very close and tight match right now. We're watching.
Kiani Moi to serve. Hope Wirtz with the kill. And Marquette takes the first set.
Oh.
We saw them do it yesterday as well. And a miscommunication on the part of the Golden Eagles leads to BYU taking the 3rd set. Kanavadov with a nice dig there. And BYU gets the point, takes set number 4, and takes the game.
Good afternoon and welcome to a live broadcast of NCAA Division I Women's Volleyball. This is a broadcast brought to you by Marquette University Television in affiliation with Marquette Wire Sports and Marquette Athletics. Today, the number 25 ranked Golden Eagles take on the Syracuse Orange here live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the Al McGuire Center. I will be your play-by-play man, Chris Reisner. By my side is color analyst Jack Phillips. And before we get into the specifics of this game, Jack, just to give fans a little bit about how each team is doing heading into the day, the Marquette Golden Eagles, again, they're 25th ranked in the nation. They come in today at 6-2. They're coming off a loss against the number 3 ranked BYU team. And they also have a loss against number 15 ranked Baylor. But in addition to that, they managed to beat number 10 USC. So Jack, you were actually there on hand for the call when they faced off and beat that number 10 ranked USC team. Describe the atmosphere and the mindset and the confidence that that gives this Marquette team heading in today against Syracuse.
Well, Chris Reisner, thanks. First off, I want to say thanks again for allowing me to be your color analyst today. It's an honor working the broadcast booth with you.
Always a pleasure, my man.
But one thing I will say, when I was in the Al McGuire Center on that Friday afternoon, I've seen some cool sporting events and I've seen some real fun crowds, but that had to be in at least my top 10. The atmosphere of the Al McGuire Center on Friday night between Marquette and USC was electrifying. And I say that with a capital E, electrifying. It went to 5 sets. Actually, the 4th set I remember went to, I think it went down to the 31st point, because you have to win by 2 in volleyball on each set. And again, that was just one of the funnest games that I had the pleasure of calling.
Absolutely. And today, they face off against a Syracuse Orange team who's not ranked. They sit at 2-2, but don't be fooled. This team is not one to take lightly. Their only 2 losses come against number 3 ranked BYU and number 10 USC. And they actually are coming off their best season in program history, where they finished 22-14 and made their first postseason appearance in program history. They ended up losing in the quarterfinals of the NIT. So, Jack, facing off against this Syracuse Orange team, what do you think are some keys and some things Marquette needs to be weary of?
Well, the one thing you have to understand is that Syracuse has some of the best middle blockers that you're going to see on a volleyball court. And the fact that Marquette, although they were able to beat USC in the first matchup on Friday, they actually, and what's funny about Marquette, and I don't mean to toot their horn in this sense, but they were the only team so far in this tournament that was able to even match or get a set over BYU, which is impressive enough. But with Syracuse, their defense is unstoppable. They lead the nation in blocks per set as a team, and that's definitely something that Coach Tyson and the Marquette Golden Eagles are going to have to watch out for. Exposing the middle, getting it past the front line, and being able to get those opportunities for their setters like Speckman and Rose.
You mentioned this Syracuse team leads the nation in blocks per game. Santita Ibanguiz is a senior out of Rochester, New York. She's one to watch out for. She led this team in blocks last season, scoring over 100. In addition, Amber Witherspoon, the 6'4" middle blocker, is a force. So that is something to watch out for. We have starting lineup. So for Marquette, to start out the game, it will be Lauren Speckman, Hope Wirch, Jenna Rosenthal, the reigning Big East Player of the Year, Allie Barber, Anna Hawk, Elizabeth Orff, and Martha Konavanov. Or excuse me, not Konavanov. And for the Syracuse Orange, it will be Elena Karasaki, Elisada, Polina Shermanova, Amber Witherspoon, Maria Levinova, and Santita Ibanguiz.
And right now, both teams definitely have something to prove. Syracuse more than Marquette in the sense that they haven't even gotten a win yet in this invitational. But Marquette still forcing 4 sets on BYU, being able to get that 5th set win in against USC, and now trying to go 2-1 out of 3 against Syracuse.
For those of you tuning in for this broadcast that may be unfamiliar with Division I volleyball rules, the game is a best out of 5. First team to 25 points wins each set.
And one interesting fact that you mentioned earlier with Syracuse being such a winning team, at least one of their best seasons right now, they probably have to thank Leonid Yellen in his 7th season with the Orange. He's actually ranked 26th nationally in wins among active D1 coaches.
To serve is Sada, the sophomore from Israel. Set up by Speckman. Tip shot is Barber, and Barber records the first kill of the game. If you're not familiar with Allie Barber, get to know her. You're going to be hearing her name a lot today, most likely. She's the reigning Big East Player of the Year. She was a co-freshman of the year as a freshman at Marquette. The junior is definitely one of the most important players of this Golden Eagles squad.
And right there, she did exactly what we were talking about, exposing the middle blockers, getting it over the front line, and opening up that middle, leading to a nice Marquette first point.
And it was a close call right there, but the kill is inbounds to Syracuse. Now to serve is Aliyah Bolin. Dug by Hawk. Set up. And Wirch with the kill. Hit it hard enough where it wasn't able to be corralled by Syracuse, so 2-1 Marquette.
Elisada trying to get that dig, the former 2017 ACA All-Freshman team member, just a little off on the dig.
To serve was Konavanov. Tipped over, and a net violation on the Golden Eagles. Ties it up at 2. We talked about that front line presence of Syracuse, so one thing to be wary of for Marquette is not to get those net violations. Back to serve is Jalissa Trotter from Texarkana, Texas.
And you have to think that we're going to be hearing a lot of her name for the Syracuse Orange tonight.
Yes, she is their leader in assists. She recorded almost 700 her sophomore year. That serve went out of bounds, so back is Sarah Rose for Marquette. Dug out by Bolin, and a kill. It's a back and forth affair so far.
That's what we've seen with the Golden Eagles. We saw it with USC, we saw it with BYU, at least in the first set of that matchup. Going back and forth, tit for tat, no team trying to give any, or the other room.
Polina Shermanova to serve. She's a freshman from St. Petersburg, Russia.
A lot of foreign presence on the Syracuse Orange roster.
Absolutely, quite a few. We'll mention that a little bit later. Shermanova digs. And a wonderful dig there by Hawk. And Rosenthal caps it off. The ball left hanging there right by the net, kind of a little lob over, and Rosenthal does the job, finishes it with a powerful kill.
Looked like Sada went for that dig again, but a little too over for her middle blockers, unable to get the setup, leading to an easy Rosenthal dig.
Wirch serves, and it's an ace. Bolin wasn't quite sure. She might have thought it was going out of bounds, and it sneaks in that back corner. Nice ace there from Wirch. And Wirch again on the serve, ends up going out of bounds. Wirch, one thing worth noting, has 13 aces now. That leads Marquette, so you could argue she is their most effective server. And I jinxed it, a server error right there from Wirch.
And actually, one thing to remember about Wirch, in her game against USC, she really came out of nowhere, because when you think about the Marquette Golden Eagles, you think about Allie Barber and Jenna Rosenthal getting the most kills and the most points per set. But Hope Wirch really came in and stepped up her game in that USC Trojan match and really helped her, or willed her team to a win. And it'll be interesting to see if we'll see something similar from her tonight.
And the ball grazed over the net, and it just adjusted the flight, so it was enough for Elisada to mishandle at the point. So that's Marquette. Marquette leads 7-4 now. Rosenthal back to serve. And what a career she's had at Marquette. And a kill there from Amber Witherspoon.
You mentioned Jenna Rosenthal. This will be her last season as a Golden Eagle. Definitely a big hole to fill for the Golden Eagle roster.
Preseason all first team Big East. High hopes for her this season. That 6'6" frame is a problem for any team to deal with. Back to serve is Elena Karakazi, a senior from Athens, Greece. Set up by Rose, and Barber with the kill.
Despite,
Anna Hawk.
Despite the lack of people in the crowd, the Marquette pep band still trying to get in the heads of the Orange.
Back to serve is Speckman. crucial setter on this team. Set up there, nice dig from Speckman, kept alive. Bodies flying everywhere right now. Wirtz sends it over. Set up, and a nice block there.
Little reversal of fortunes there for the Golden Eagles, getting the block and getting the easy point. But the one thing you got to go back to is the amazing digs by Konovatov and Speckman, really saving that last mat.
Absolutely, the effort keeping that point alive. And Wirtz tried for the dig, but the shot was too powerful, goes out of bounds. 9-6 Marquette.
We've yet to see the other setter, Sarah Rose, get in this game. Usually a dynamic duel with Jenna Rosenthal.
Sada to serve. Dug by Wirtz. Barber tried the tip shot, but it was just off the mark. Sada to serve again. She averages about 2.5 kills per set. Orff tries the tip shot and successfully completes it.
Going right back to what they did on their first point, getting it over the middle blockers, exposing the middle, and getting the easy points.
Now Anna Hawk to serve. And an ace. The dug can't be controlled by Bolin, and it's 11-7 Marquette. Anna Hawk, a senior leader for this team from Sweden. She, Ryan Tice has pointed out, should be crucial for the team this year. Hawk with the dig, and a little bit of miscommunication there.
You want to go back to Anna Hawk. Definitely gives Marquette even more veteran experience than they already have. It's actually a very veteran-like team here with Marquette. Very little freshmen.
Barber goes for the kill. Can't get it. Nice setup there, but it's corralled by Syracuse. Tip shot, and it can't be kept alive by Konovatov. Konovatov wearing that libero white uniform.
Marquette pulled out to a little bit of a lead here. Now it's going back to that tit-for-tat pattern that we saw earlier.
And the service error there from Bolin. So service goes back to Marquette with a 12-9 lead right now. Konovatov to serve. And that one sailed way out of bounds. Just lost control of that one. It happens sometimes. Service errors are always a coach's worst enemy, those unforced errors. Jalissa Trotter to serve. A lot of these Division I players come from athletic family backgrounds, and Jalissa Trotter is no exception. As Rosenthal goes for the kill, and it's blocked out of bounds, so it's point Marquette. But as I was saying with Trotter, get this, Jack, her mother Melissa played volleyball at Henderson State. Her aunt Michelle ran track at Texas A&M. Her uncle Nick played football at Stephen F. Austin, and her uncle Jeremiah is a 4-time Pro Bowl linebacker with the Philadelphia Eagles. Talk about an athletic family. Dug by Hawk. Rose to Rosenthal. A nice block. And who else but Santita Ibenguiz. She is one of the crucial blockers to this team. Part of what makes them so good on that front line.
Going back to Jalissa Trotter, she definitely does have an athletic family, and she's definitely a really crucial piece of this Orange offense with the most assists on the team.
And a point there. Madeline Mosher. The kill can't be controlled. 14-11 Marquette. Wirtz to serve. Set up. And a nice kill there from Ibengwase. I was corrected on the pronunciation. Ibengwase back to serve. They will just manage to lob it over after the serve wasn't very well controlled. Blocked at the net. Two-handed tip back to Wirch. And Hawk with the beautiful kill right on that back line, just tiptoed and inched its way inbounds.
Analyzed in midair, saw the open court, and placed it perfectly for an easy kill for Anna Hawk.
Syracuse making some substitutions. Entering the game, Yulia Yastrub. She's from the Ukraine. Rosenthal. A game of tips at the net as Wirch sets it up to Hawk. Nice dig there from Bolin. Rosenthal, a rare set. Good rally here from both teams. Rose, and Rose delivers to Orff. Those are always the best points to win, a bit of a momentum builder when it goes back and forth for so long and you come out on top.
Surprised to see Elizabeth Orff finishing that kill. Used to seeing the Rosenthal-Rose connection as Syracuse calls time.
First time out of the game, Marquette leads 16-12 at this first break. If we look at a quick update at the stats right now, Polina Shermanova leads Syracuse with 3 kills. And a trio of Golden Eagles each have 2 kills. Jenna Rosenthal, Anna Hawk, and Elizabeth Orff. So, Jack, still early in this match, but Marquette with an early lead, 16-12. What are you thinking right now as you witness this early set?
Well, right now, again, you have to look back at the last couple of games for both teams. Syracuse 0-2, Marquette 1-1, and right now Marquette does have the 4-point lead, only 9 away from clinching this set 1 victory. And so far it's been an interesting game, tit for tat for the most part. But Marquette's continuously kept those, or had every once in a while had those like 2-point spurts and continue to expand their lead. I wouldn't be surprised them win the set by 5 or 6 come 25.
Still had about 20 seconds of time left in the timeout, but both teams eager to get back on the court, I guess.
Both coaches don't have too much to say to their team.
It will be Rosenthal back to serve, the redshirt senior from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Quite a few Wisconsin natives on this Marquette team. Set up and blocked at the net. Looks like a bit of a team block there from Orff and Hawk. And I guess they give the credit to Mosier as well.
Yeah, Madeline Mosier averaging 1.3 kills per set and 1.48 points per set. Definitely a really key piece in the Marquette roster.
And a point there. Nice little tip shot, and Marquette's not. Oh, excuse me, it went out of bounds. So Marquette will get the point. Rosenthal's still there to serve. Nice dig, and a nice tip shot from Amber Witherspoon. She kind of just palmed the ball in midair and saw an opening and drove it to the floor.
It's good to see Syracuse get some points back on that board. It looked like Marquette was about to start pulling away in this one.
Karakazi to serve. She had 35 assists in a game against UConn earlier. And Elizabeth Orff is there with the tip shot. Marquette doing a good job with those tip shots over the defense. They know that Syracuse is a threat there at the net for the blocks, and they're being quite calculated.
As we've continued to say, they continue to expose those middle blockers. They definitely read their scouting reports.
A tip shot of their own was tried by Levanova, but Marquette saw it all the way. Barber there, tried for the kill. Barber tries for the block, Orff sets it up. And A fortunate turn of events there for Marquette. Barely able to get it over the net, and it was just enough over where Witherspoon couldn't quite get it back.
You know, it might just be me, Chris, but it seems like this is really a battle of the front lines in a sense, because it doesn't seem like we're seeing too many kills. It's more of just the tips.
I agree. Timeout is called by Syracuse coach Leonis Yellen. Interesting guy here, Jack. Coach Yellen, it's his 7th season at the helm at Syracuse. Before taking the job, he spent 15 years at Louisville, and he led them to 14 NCAA tournament appearances in 15 seasons. He's originally from Uzbekistan. That might be one of the reasons why, as we mentioned, a lot of these foreign players, he likes to recruit overseas.
It's a very interesting, it's a very diverse group of people. You got a lot of recruits from upstate New York around the Syracuse area, and then the rest from all over Europe.
Yes, this Syracuse team features players from Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, and even Israel. As we are about to resume play, it will be Speckman to serve, the junior setter. She was 2nd team All-Big East last season, led this team in assists. Nice hands there, Jack. The point goes to Syracuse.
You know, I always love when I'm able to get in the game, because Chris and I both do not have the athletic ability to actually play in the game, but when the ball comes to me, I'm more than happy to help out.
Well, speak for yourself, Jack. No, I'm just playing. These
hey,
players.
we know you tried out for the club team at Marquette, so.
I try to still call myself an athlete, even if it's not realistic. Back to serve is Sada. Set up to Wirch. Wirch reaches that back corner, but a nice recovery by Sada. And then a nice kill there.
I wonder if I have a Magna on me, man. The ball just keeps, the last 2 plays, it just comes right to me.
Shermanova with the kill. She's only a freshman, and she's leading this team in kills this season. She has 73 right now, including this game, and she was the MVP of the UConn Invitational. Speckman sets up Hawk. Syracuse barely gets it over. Speckman again, and a nice rejection there at the net. Barber finishes it off. A few kill opportunities were blocked, but they stayed patient with it, and Allie Barber, as per usual, finishes it off.
Give credit to the Syracuse front line, staying strong, trying to pose a defensive threat, but Barber and the Marquette Golden Eagle offense, just a little too much.
The wall can only take so much of a beating. Nice diving dig there from Mosier. Excuse me, Kanavanov. And there's a point there from Syracuse.
Anna Hawk trying to extend her body, get the dig, but just a little off. Syracuse trying to get back in this set.
Bolin, the libero, to serve. The one player in orange on the Syracuse orange squad, ironically, and Barber again gets the kill, so it's 22-16. Marquette 3 points shy of taking this first set.
And the first set is very important in a volleyball match. Really sets the momentum and sets the tone for the rest of the match.
Kanavanov serves it over, set up, and a net violation on Syracuse. They passed over that center line, so it will be point Marquette, 2 shy of taking this first set.
Now each team has 1 net violation.
Kanavanov dug out by Sada, and a wonderful, powerful strike there from Shermanova. She has a bright future here at Syracuse, I believe, Jack. 74 kills in her first 5 games as just a freshman. She was also the MVP at the Russian Championships. From St. Petersburg, she is. Trotter to serve. And a service error. So it will be set point here for Marquette. Ryan Tice checks in Sarah Rose.
Some of the fans on their feet trying to get this Golden Eagle team to close it out.
Rose from Elmhurst, Illinois. And the set will end with a net violation. So Marquette, the Golden Eagles, take the first set, 25-17. They controlled it pretty well. Never conceded the lead, stayed a comfortable cushion ahead, and that will bring us to the second set. So we will take a quick break for an intermission as we prepare for the second set. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back in just a few short moments. Welcome back. Chris Reisner and Jack Phillips on hand for you as we continue this game of Marquette against Syracuse women's volleyball. Marquette managed to take the first set rather comfortably, 25-17. And Syracuse is going to look to try and get back in this game, because if they drop this set now, a 2-0 set lead is difficult to overcome.
You know, we've seen leads like 3-1 go away really quickly, so you never can count on a team. But yeah, you're right, Chris. A 2-0 lead or a 2-0 deficit in the case of Syracuse would be pretty tough to overcome. Going back to that first set, though, the way that if I'm the Orange right now, I'm really upset with the way I lost that set, just because to lose on a net violation, especially by 8 points, that must have been rough for the Orange.
Yes, they had 3 either service errors or net violations. And there's another one as Marquette scores the first point. Speckman back to serve.
It's interesting right now because if you look at the attack stats right now, Syracuse in the first set had 32 attacks compared to Marquette's 25, despite the 8-point scoring difference. And you think that the team with more attacks would have more points at the end.
Speckman committed a service error, so now Syracuse, and it's just service error galore as Bolin fails to get it over the net. Anna Hawk now back to serve. And a nice kill there from Polina Shermanova. She's putting the team on her back as much as she can right now. 6 kills, more than double any of her Syracuse teammates.
Well, she's definitely the MVP of this team, like you said before, despite being only a freshman, really carrying and willing her team to a victory.
Trotter with the ace. Hawk thought it was going out of bounds, let it go, but to no avail as it stuck on that line. Syracuse now with a 3-2 lead. I believe their first lead of this match. Trotter. And another service error.
You have to wonder that, or you have to wonder if by the time we're done with set 2, how many of these points will be due to service errors.
Kanavanov. Dug by Bolin. Set up, and who else but Shermanova. 7 kills now for the freshman from St. Petersburg as she goes back to serve. Nice serve, but it's controlled, and Barber sends it back and blocked at the net, but it's still alive. Shermanova to Imbenguese. Rosenthal gets it over, just barely dug by Shermanova. Tip shot. Speckman to Barber. Still alive, going back and forth. Tip shot over, and a nice decoy there as Karakazi made the defense think she was gonna set it and quickly pushed it through that center opening. Clever point there from Karakazi.
Well, the freshman setter from Greece exposing the Marquette open middle.
And it was a nice string of plays there from Shermanova until that service error. So she'll give Marquette service again. 5-4 Syracuse right now in this second set. Rose, dug by Shermanova. Hit is kept alive by Marquette. And Yastrub, the 6'2" sophomore from Ukraine, records the block. She doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, but when she does, she is a force there at the net with a few blocks this season.
Well, the wall can break sometimes, but in the end, it most of the time holds up, just like it did for the Orange right there.
Set is up. Dug out by Marquette. And Mosier went for the kill, but it sails out of bounds, so 7-4 Syracuse right now. Back to serve is Imbenguese. And Imbenguese had an interesting high school career. She was actually heavily recruited in basketball.
And Chris Reisner gets the ball. It looks like Chris and I are both really stepping our games in.
I managed to get the catch there, but as I was saying, Imbenguese, she checks out. Was heavily recruited in basketball. She actually had offers from Notre Dame and Tennessee, 2 of the biggest programs in women's college basketball, but she chose to stick with just volleyball.
An interesting choice to stick with volleyball despite having the opportunity to go play for storied franchises.
She's also an engineering major, and she wanted to be able to focus on her studies as Rosenthal tips it over, dug out by Bolin. And Yulia Yastrov tried for the long range shot, but it bounces into the net. So Marquette's point, 8-6 Syracuse, and Rosenthal to serve. The Golden Eagle with his hands up behind her. Dug by Bolin. And the shot goes long from Maria Levinova. She's also from St. Petersburg. 2 St. Petersburg natives on the Syracuse team.
And looking at the way set 2 is played thus far, It was a little bit of a reversal of fortunes in this set compared to what we saw in set 1. Syracuse coming out very aggressive on the offensive end, and now Marquette trying to turn it around towards the middle of the set.
And point there for Marquette. It looks like Karakazi couldn't quite decide what she wanted to do in the air. And now Rosenthal to serve again, so Marquette has a chance to reclaim the lead in this set. And Orff right there at the net. The ball was served on a platter, and she just two-hand tipped it down into the floor, so Marquette reclaims the lead, 9-8.
Marquette now on a 4-0 scoring run, turning the tide, so to speak, in the Al McGuire Center.
Rosenthal. And Yulia Yastrub gets that one to go. Excuse me, it was a net violation, so she won't get the kill. Yastrub. And that one sails out of bounds. Good eyes by the back line of Marquette. (10-9) Marquette as Speckman goes back to serve. Yastrub tipped it over, and a nice setup to Witherspoon, who does the rest, and she checks out.
It seems both teams continuously going on their little offensive spurts. Now they're locked in a dead knot at 10. It'll be interesting to see how it plays throughout the rest of the set.
Two-handed tip from Barber. Nice dig there to keep it alive by Konavanov, and Barber tips it again. The setup to Shermanova. Barber, and wow, Syracuse able to keep it alive even after the powerful hit by Barber. Then it's Hawk. Beautiful save by Konavanov. Huge point here. Whoever can manage to win this. Both teams going back. And a beautiful kill there to finish off the job.
I want to talk about finding the perfect place to put that ball. Allie Barber did just that, putting it right in the back right corner, giving Marquette the 11-10 lead.
Allie Barber now with 4 kills. Second to Elizabeth Orff in this game. Hawk. Another nice dig from Konavanov, keeping it alive. And the tip goes out of bounds, so it's point Syracuse. But how about, even though Syracuse won that point, how about Konavanov? How many digs has she kept alive in these past sequence of plays?
Well, you know, Chris, I couldn't tell you, but whether you call it a dig or a save, still unbelievable plays being demonstrated by Konavanov.
Another service error from Trotter.
Another thing to note about Martha Konavanov, 2018 Big East All-Academic, and she was actually the Big East Defensive Player of the Year, Freshman of the Week, and she was on the honor roll in this past 2017 season.
Getting it done on the court and in the classroom, as there's a net violation on Syracuse. Point Marquette, 13-11, Golden Eagles. Konavanov to serve. And it goes out of bounds. Quite a few service errors in this game. It's got to be frustrating in such a close contest. That's 9 now for Marquette, and Syracuse has 5 of their own.
Well, whether it's a service error or a net violation, it seems that both teams are unable to get off of their little stretches.
Shermanova serves, and Rosenthal tips it over. It's barely kept alive. And Syracuse will end up with the point. Wonderful dig there from Bolin.
Seems neither team willing to give each other any room or any breathing room. We're all deadlocked at 13.
Speckman sets up Barber, but the block is there from Ibengwese, and that's what she does. Shermanova again. Syracuse now has a 14-13 lead in this set. And Shermanova loves to go with those powerful serves, but that's the risk you take. More power equals less control, and that less control resulted in a service error.
Now at 14-14. This entire set seems like, maybe it's just me, Chris, but it seems like there's just way too many errors going on.
Rose. Dug by Shermanova. And Ibengwese with the kill. She led this team in kills and hitting percentage last season. It is her senior year, so looking to make the most of it. Mosier hits it over. And a kill there from Shermanova. That's her 9th of the game. The next highest in this game is Orff with 5 kills. Shermanova making her presence known. She's hitting 64% as we head to a timeout. So Syracuse leads 16-14 as we speak. Kill leaders, we've got Polina Shermanova with 9 for Syracuse, and Witherspoon, Levinova, and Ibengwese all have 3 for Marquette. Orff has 5, Barber 4, Rosenthal 3, and Hawk 2. So Marquette won that first set rather comfortably, but Syracuse not going anywhere. They're hanging in there. They have a 2-point lead right now, about halfway through this second set. What do you think they've been able to do differently that's made them a little more successful in this second set?
Chris Reisner, I'm going to be honest right now. I think that Syracuse is getting completely lucky in the sense that Marquette, if I'm Coach Tice right now, I'm obviously, you don't want to scream at your team because you're still up a set. You had a good first set, and you want to continue that momentum and that positive attitude. But you're pretty much handing Syracuse the second set by just service errors and miscommunications and net violations. And again, it's those little mistakes that can give Syracuse a set, which gets them right back into this game, forces at least a 4-set match. And who knows, maybe Syracuse could pull off the upset then.
Yeah, Marquette has 9 service errors in this game. Gotta be frustrating to Coach Tice to have those unforced errors as we resume play. And Mosier hits it so it can't be corralled by Trotter, sails out of bounds, and that is point Marquette. So nice way to start off out of a timeout situation as Hope Wirch will take the serve. Wirch from Neenah, Wisconsin. Hawk with the kill, unable to be blocked by Witherspoon. Wirch led Neenah High School to 4 consecutive regional championships and their first state championship since 1978. Bolin, nice dig. Sets up Yastrub. And Hawk went for the kill, but it sails out of bounds. So, point Syracuse.
When you bring up Neenah, Wisconsin, seems like they produce some pretty good athletes. They also produce senior center Matt Health, the Marquette Golden Eagles basketball team.
Yes. Matt Health, important part of this team. Doesn't always get the respect I think he deserves. When I say this team, I mean the Marquette basketball team, excuse me. But Hawk tries to tip it over, is rejected. And that'll be point Syracuse. So 18-16 Syracuse.
Well, coming out of the timeout, it looked like Marquette started to figure out some of the errors, got rid of the kinks, tied it back up to 16, but now Syracuse regains the 2-point lead.
Karakazi to serve. She's a member of the U19 Greek national team. Karakazi sets to Bolin, and
thanks to the score table wall, Chris Reisner avoided his second grab of the night.
Yes, it looked like Karakazi went for the cross-court shot, but just mistimed it. Couldn't get over the net as Rosenthal serves. Tip goes to, ends up on the palm of Levinova. So Maria Levinova records the kill. She's second for Syracuse right now with 4. And back to serve is Yastreb. And a double contact violation there on the Golden Eagles. So another unforced error, and Syracuse with the serving advantage, and they lead 20-17. Marquette in jeopardy of losing this second set right now. And a beautiful two-handed drop shot there from Maria Levinova.
Looks like Marquette calling timeout. Definitely well, or very much needed for the Golden Eagles. It seems that Syracuse has taken over the second set despite what looked like was going to be a close set, regardless of error or good competition.
Coach Ryan Tice calls the timeout. Coach Tice is in his 5th season at the helm for Marquette. He actually used to be a recruiter back at Florida in 2008 and helped them as one of the best teams in the country.
It's actually interesting. He not only that, but he actually assistant coached some really good volleyball programs in Eastern Illinois University, Northwestern, and Indiana. And in fact, you know, looking back to last season, he got Marquette to their 7th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance, losing to the first round in Wisconsin. Wisconsin being, I think, ranked number 2 right now in the nation. So Coach Tice putting up a pretty impressive resume in his Marquette tenure as well as prior.
And Coach Tice was vocal about his expectations for this Golden Eagles squad. It's a squad returning a lot of talent from last season. The only senior to graduate was Manon Geoffroy, and she was an important libero / defensive specialist. But the majority of the talent is returning for this Golden Eagles squad. In the past 2 seasons, they've fallen a little bit short of expectations going out in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The goal this year is to get past that first round and go as far as possible in the tournament. As we resume play, it is Yastreb serving. And Hawk slams it down with emphasis. How about that out of the timeout? Seems like every time we come out of timeout, Jack, Marquette responds.
Marquette responds, at least for the first couple, or 2 or 3 points. But then it seems, at least in these last couple timeouts, Syracuse has been able to rebound and regain momentum.
Speckman. Setup is there. And unable to be returned. So Syracuse, 4-point lead now, 3 points away from taking the set. 22-18 Orange. Bolin with the serve. She's from Pittsford, New York. Led her high school to back-to-back state titles. Hawk. Kept alive.
Scorekeeper Dan Evington he got his first grab of the night. Seems like
both of us.
Seems like we're all involved.
Bit of a tag team. We're able to get our hands on the ball. It was a little bit wet, I must say. The ref might want to take a look at that. Tip shot by Barber. Bolin sets it up to Shermanova. And a net violation? Is that what happened?
It looked like maybe too many hits.
Not exactly sure.
It's a tough call.
Perhaps a double hit violation. Wirch with the dig, sets it to Barber, and Barber keeping Marquette alive. They're gonna have to score 6, 7 unanswered if they want to take this set.
They have to at least get 5 more to force it to continue, which will be pretty impressive if they can do it.
Dug by Yastrub. Kept alive, just barely. What a dig. What an effort. And unfortunately, the block attempt goes out of bounds, so that second set will go to the orange. And Jack, now we have 2 sets where the first one, Marquette took it pretty comfortably. The second one, Syracuse took it pretty comfortably. So what do you attribute before we head to break?
It's pretty hard to give analysis on this because, in my opinion, I think in some sense Marquette gave that set to Syracuse with the amount of errors they had. And despite, I will give Syracuse credit. The second half of the second set, it seemed like they really came alive. Their middle blockers forming that wall that we were talking about prior to the game, leading the most blocks in the nation, and their blocks per set, I should say. And they did a pretty good job so far in that second set at the end. But if Marquette wants to come back from this, they need to come in and understand that Syracuse, although they are 0-2 in their recent 2 games, they are still a very good program and are going to be a tough opponent for them.
You're absolutely right. Before we head to the third set and take a break, Marquette has 5 service errors, on these graphics, and 3 net violations, it looks like. So they are indeed giving away the game with unforced errors. So we have a tie game, 1 set apiece, Marquette, Syracuse. We will take a short break. Stay with us for the third set shortly. Welcome back here live at the Al McGuire Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Once again, Chris Reisner, Jack Phillips on hand, bringing you the action of number 25 Marquette taking on the Syracuse Orange here in women's volleyball. We have a closely contested affair right now, with each team taking one set apiece.
You know it's good. You know it's a good game when the Golden Eagle himself is sitting next to Andrew Himmelberg, a great photographer for the Marquette Wire.
The Golden Eagle rocking out to some intermission jams right now. He always gives the fans a good time. Right now on the court for Marquette is Allie Barber, Elizabeth Orff, Anna Hawk, Jenna Rosenthal, Hope Wirch, and Lauren Speckman. And for Syracuse, we have Polina Shermanova, Maria Levinova, Amber Witherspoon, Santita Ibenguese, and Elisada, as well as Elena Karakazi. To start things off, well, actually, Yulia Yastrub, she actually just switched in. Yastrub. Speckman sets up Barber. And kept alive by Hughes impressively. Anna Hawk tried to be a little too cute there, went for the tip shot, but it was read all the way and rejected right away.
Not a bad idea, though, trying to fake out that orange defense. Just didn't work out for Hawk.
Yastrub again to serve. Hawk to Speckman, Speckman to Barber. Speckman again. Speckman again setting up her teammates, but and a net violation. So Marquette will take the point. Lauren Speckman, 3 assist opportunities. Finally, that last one resulted in a point. Hawk to serve. Hawk is all the way from Sweden, a foreigner on this Golden Eagles team. And we talk about experience. We talked about Coach Tice with high expectations of this experienced team. And Hawk actually had a 37-0 record with the U19 Swedish team on their way to winning a gold medal. So you talk about experience, not just as a senior, but internationally. Rather impressive as Wirch. I talk about impressive, that was impressive. Powerful kill there for Wirch.
Going back to what we were talking about with Anna Hawk, not only are we talking about her impressive international resume, but also being a senior, the veteran experience that Marquette wants, needs, and definitely loves to have.
I don't care what anyone says, senior experience always means a lot in college athletics. Syracuse recorded a point there, so Trotter will go back to serve. Speckman to Wirch. And another net violation. Quite a few now, as we've been repeating for Marquette.
Seems like Coach Tice is very frustrated with the Golden Eagle defense. Continuing to get net violation after net violation.
Wirch with the dig. Tip shot by Barber. Blocked at the net. Dug out by Speckman. Konavanov to Barber. And the ref says just out of bounds. It was close. Barber went for that side of the court, and it was just out of reach. So point Syracuse. They're up 5-2 in this third set. Trotter Speckman to Rosenthal, and Rosenthal, finally they get one of those little tip shots to go.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right, Chris? They continue to expose the middle when they attract the middle blockers over to try and block the supposed kill attempt. But Jenna Rosenthal recognizing the open middle, putting the tip perfectly.
Rose to serve. And Ibenguese. Jack, is it just me? We talked about Ibenguese's basketball background. It almost seems as if she's not a natural volleyball player. She kind of pushes the shot, like doesn't have the same sort of technique as other players. But it seems like her athleticism alone makes her so effective out there.
Well, it's a gift and a curse being a double sport athlete. Probably could have, I'm actually pretty surprised that if she was recruited by Notre Dame, and I forgot the other school that you mentioned before, but the fact that she wasn't offered that at Syracuse, because Syracuse has a pretty good basketball program as well.
Yeah, I think from what I heard in the article I read is she just wanted to focus on one sport. Two would have been a little too demanding along with her engineering major. She recorded a kill on that last possession as well as Ryan Tice takes a timeout. So Ibenguese now with 5 kills.
And Syracuse getting right back or coming right back to where they left off in the second set of 7-3 already. Martin, like you said, Coach Tice calling a timeout. It's interesting to look at Marquette right now. They don't seem like the same team they were against BYU and USC. And yeah, I know that they lost to BYU in 4 sets, but still putting up that much of a fight against a number 3 team in the nation and letting Syracuse walk in on your home court, pretty much dictating the tone of the game so far.
That's a really good point, Jack. And you've got to think it would be a little disappointing and demoralizing after such a huge win, the first top 10 win in program history over USC, and to lose to an unranked Syracuse team, although they're no slouch, but it would be quite a disappointment after such a historic win if they were to drop this game, I presume. And a service error there for Shermanova. She's been on fire this game. She has 15 kills on 21 attempts. That's a 714 hitting percentage, but can't get it over the net there. Ibenguese, and another kill for the senior.
And one thing that we haven't really mentioned yet, and if you think with me, Chris Reisner, for a second, compare this game to the 2 games before with BYU and USC. The one thing missing, the crowd. Think of how much more packed the Al McGuire Center was with the 2 previous games, and now barely any fans in the stadium. Marquette seems to be struggling more than they would, so you have to think possibly that fan factor might be in effect.
I think that's quite a valid point, Jack. I remember seeing 738 or so fans were in attendance, and there can't be more than 100-200 here today.
Definitely seems a lot more empty than we're used to seeing, at least when we compare it to the last 2 games.
Nice block there at the net by Anna Hawk and Orff. Bit of a tandem block. Rosenthal to serve. And a nice decoy shot there. It was Elena Karakazi. That's the 2nd time she's done that this game. Remarkable court awareness for just a freshman. This Karakazi now to serve. The jump serve hits the antenna, and it is point Marquette.
A lucky break there for the Golden Eagles. If you're Coach Tyson, Marquette, you want to use that lucky break, turn it into some positive momentum, and get back into the set, and overall back into this game.
Speckman. Speckman again digs it out. Kanavanov up to Barber. Tipped at the line by Witherspoon, and it's sent back over by Bolin. Hawk now tries. Kept alive by Kanavanov. Long rally here. Good setup to Barber. And after a long rally, it's Lauren Speckman to Ali Barber. The connection we're used to seeing comes away with a crucial point.
A crucial point indeed for the Golden Eagles, but you probably weren't watching where I was watching in that last play. The Golden Eagle was flossing with a couple fans. And I don't know if you know this about me, Chris Reiser, but I consider myself a pretty good flosser. And for those of you who do not know, it's a dance move that is, it sounds easy, but it's actually a lot trickier than you think.
Well, it's good with the lack of energy and fan presence we have that the Golden Eagle is trying to provide some entertainment. Orff delivers a blow at the net, and that's a point for Marquette. 10-9 Syracuse as Hawk goes back to serve in this third set.
Marquette trailed as much as 4 in this set. Only down 1 now, getting back into it.
Set up to Witherspoon, and Witherspoon with that 6'4" frame just rises up over the net. (11-9) Syracuse. Boland to serve. Speckman up to Barber. And Barber does what she does. That is her 8th kill of the game. Leads Marquette.
There's a reason they named her the Big East Player of the Year just a year ago, demonstrating the amount of strength she has in her repertoire.
Perfect combination of power and precision is Barber. As she records another kill, that's 2 in a row for the junior.
Barber looking at her team saying, let's go, trying to will her team back into this match.
Barber is another Wisconsin native. She's from Cedarburg. So impressive about all the in-state talent that Wisconsin produces for women's volleyball. Hawk keeps it alive with one hand. To Barber. This time Barber's rejected again. And there's Jenna Rosenthal who gets the kill.
And the Marquette team just looks so hyped up now, so energetic, and that's why Syracuse is going to call a timeout. But going back to what you said earlier about Marquette, you notice that a lot of the players are from around the area. It's a very homegrown program. And you compare that to the teams that we've seen so far, like Syracuse and BYU and USC, who get a lot of transfers, or in Syracuse's case, international players. It's really different, and it's cool to see that Marquette, despite not going all over the country and really staying in that Wisconsin area, being Wisconsin proud, and still being able to be a top 25 team in the nation.
Hope Wirch from Neenah, Wisconsin. Sandra Moore from Muskego, Wisconsin. Rosenthal from Fond du Lac. Ali Barber from Cedarburg. Freshman Katie Schuesso is from Mukwonago, and the Mosier sisters, who we haven't seen Claire appear much this season as a freshman, but Madeline always makes a contribution out there. She's got 2 kills this game. They're from Waterloo, Wisconsin. They actually talked about how they played together. They won a couple state titles back at Waterloo High School, but now they get to fight in their battles on the same team.
Chris Reisner, I don't want to. I gotta ask, was that a Lincoln Park reference?
No, that was a Napoleonic War reference, the Battle of Waterloo.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought Lincoln Park on that one. Still creative. I'll give you credit on that one.
Appreciate it. Kanavanov to serve. And once again, it's Ibenguese with the kill. I've got to say, Jack, she is unorthodox in her technique. She doesn't have the same kind of smoothness and technique as a lot of these players have, but her leaping ability just allows her to rise up and score anyway.
Her pure athleticism makes her a highly touted player.
Rosenthal jumps off of 1 foot, and it's unable to be controlled by Syracuse. Point Marquette. 13-12, Golden Eagles, as Rose will serve. Trotter up to Shermanova. And Jack, right now the MVP of this game, there's no doubt about it. It's Polina Shermanova, 16 kills. The next highest is Barber in this game with 9.
And on that last play, she could have gone with the changeup or the curveball, but she decided to go with the heating fastball. Oh my goodness, how fast she can hit that.
Marquette gets the point, but an impressive serve from Shermanova. Had some top spin. You could see the ball curve down. Didn't matter though. Hope Wirch serves. And up and over is Anastasia Goralina. She's from Uzbekistan. We haven't seen much of her, but she gets the kill here.
She's from the same area where her coach actually grew up in.
Gotta think he's probably got some connections there, probably heard something about a talent coming out of there. As Rosenthal records her 9th kill of the night, so Rosenthal ties Ali Barber, both of them with 9 kills for Marquette. Rosenthal. Cleaned up by Syracuse. Wirch gets a kill.
And Hope Wirch, I said this against USC, but she's kind of the dark horse of the Golden Eagle offense. It's usually, when you think of the offense, you think of Rosenthal, you think of Speckman, Barber, but you don't really think of Hope Wirch. But in these last 3 games, she's made you realize how good she can be.
And Anna Hawk delivers there. Ball was pinballing back and forth at the net, and Marquette comes away with the point. So they've got a 3-point lead now, their largest lead of the set. And Jack, you mentioned Hope Wirch. She's not one of the foreign international players. She's from Wisconsin, but you could say she's a bit of a Swiss Army knife with how many different things she could do on the court, whether it be playing in the back, playing defense, or recording kills at the front.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, Chris. She has, as I said before, she has a lot of tools in her repertoire, and she's definitely a highly touted player on the Golden Eagle roster, and a big reason why she's seen so much playing time in her now sophomore season.
Karakazi serves. Hawk sends it back over. Tip shot. And unable to keep it alive is Orff. Nice tip shot there by Levanova.
You know, it's interesting to see how much Marquette has grown as a volleyball program, especially within the Big East. You usually think Creighton as the big dog in the Big East, but now Marquette climbing up the ranks. They actually had last year the Big East Player of the Year, as well as Hope Wirch, the Freshman of the Year. So a big team to watch out for, not only nationally, but especially in the Big East.
Impressive tandem play to keep it alive, and a block there by Elizabeth Orff. Madeline Mosier as well got in on that. Mosier has 2 blocks, Orff has 4. We talked about Syracuse's presence at the net, but the players on Marquette are imposing their will as well at the net. Yastrub to serve. Knavanov will just loop it over. And Witherspoon set up beautifully for the kill. 18 all here in this crucial 3rd set.
Now, I don't want to jinx it here, but this might be the first set that we've seen that has seen very little errors and a lot of skill being demonstrated. It'll be interesting to see if this one goes down to the wire.
Down to the wire indeed. And that kill just barely hung on to that side of the court. So Syracuse takes that 1-point lead, and it's a timeout by Coach Ryan Tice. So what a unpredictable game we've seen, Jack. First set, Marquette cruises to 25-17 set victory. Next set, a lot of unforced errors. They didn't quite look like themselves. Syracuse wins 25-19 comfortably. And right now, this could go either way. 19-18 Syracuse. Tell me what's going through your mind.
I mean, as a color analyst right now, you have to think that this game is going to at least go to 5 sets. Just based on how the game is going, it seems that this set and hopefully the next set as well will really go down to the last point or so, instead of being like the first 2 sets where one team wins comfortably over the other. But you really can't tell. For all we know, Marquette could have 7 unanswered points, or Syracuse could have their 6 unanswered points. And then we'd be sitting here thinking, how did it go from 19-18 to, let's say, 25-18? So we really don't know yet, but it's going to be interesting to see whoever wins this set. The other team, the loser in this sense, will really have to step up their game if they want to get back in this match.
Jack, I hate to even throw this out there, but do you think after such a convincing first set victory, is it possible Marquette got a little lackadaisical, maybe took Syracuse a little lightly in that second set?
I mean, it's not out of the question. Again, they just finished their game against BYU last night and USC the night before, and now they're coming in against Syracuse, who obviously a great program, but they're no BYU or USC. So maybe they did get a little lackadaisical, maybe they did get a little lazy, but we won't know for sure until the end of the third set.
And Allie Barber comes out of the timeout with a kill. We are all tied up at 19. 6 points away each team is from taking this third set. Hawk. And a nice tip shot there from Witherspoon. The setup and the finish were so quick in succession, it was hard for Marquette to make any adjustments. Now Bolin will be back to serve. So many, as Bolin serves out of bounds, so it's tied again, but so many of these players have such impressive high school resumes. Bolin was actually a Gatorade nominee for Player of the Year in the state of New York. And with emphasis, Jenna Rosenthal meets at the net for the block. And a timeout again is taken, this time by Syracuse.
You know, Marquette is really trying to put their A game in when you have Hope Wirch, Jenna Rosenthal, and the Big East Player of the Year and Allie Barber all in the same court at the same time. Coach Tice definitely understands how important this third set will and can be.
Yeah, and how intimidating is it when you have 6'3", 6'5", and 6'6" on that front line?
Too intimidating. To answer your question, Fred.
So 21-20 Golden Eagles in this third set. Whoever takes this set will take a 2-1 set lead in this best out of 5 matchup. One thing worth noting about Marquette, one of their strengths is their ability to set up those kills, because Lauren Speckman was among the nation leaders in assists per set last season. And right now Marquette is second in the entire country in assists per set. So you credit that to the ability of that front line, as you were saying, to finish, but also by the setters of setting them up and making them look good. We resume play. And a violation on Marquette, so double contact violation. Syracuse reties the game.
Well, despite what I said earlier, Chris Reisner, I may have been wrong. This third set probably will go down to a couple points because neither team appears to be pulling away at this point.
This third set, the score has been tied on 10 different occasions with 3 lead changes. Trotter serves. Speckman sets up Wirch and stuffed at the net. Ibenguese, we talked about her presence there. She's only 6 feet tall, which isn't huge for a middle blocker, at least if you're comparing them to Marquette, but that leaping ability makes her feel a lot taller. And Trotter sails that one out of bounds. So service error is playing a role in this game.
Now, this is a really weird question I'm about to ask you, Chris. But can you imagine if in volleyball, instead of having a clear net, it was just not, there was like some type of like tarp over it, so you couldn't see the other side? How difficult that would be?
That would definitely change the game. You're always thinking out of the box, Jack. I like it. Nice dig there from Konavanov. Hawk. And unable to keep the block inbounds was a tandem of Rosenthal and Mosier.
And by the way, thank you for the compliment, Chris. I am always trying to think outside the box. I like to think that I do, at least. Maybe I'll make that a sport, you know, if I have in my free time. Maybe I'll try to trademark that.
Well, and a service error there by Shermanova. 23-23. And Jack, there's no problem. I'm always a proponent of creativity, and that new Nike ad said if your dreams aren't crazy enough, if people don't tell you your dreams are crazy, they aren't crazy enough. So go be crazy and try and make that happen. Back to the game, though.
Yeah, you know what? You know, you laugh now, but 20 years from now, these nets are going to have tarps.
Syracuse goes out of bounds. Marquette now with set point. Hope Wirch back to serve. Ibenguese kept alive by Rose. Konavanov to Hawk, and Hawk delivers the blow that takes the third set for Marquette. What a play there from Hawk. First set, comfortable win for Marquette. Second set, comfortable win for Syracuse. Third set, could have gone either way, and Marquette narrowly edges them after trailing early.
And now Marquette puts all the momentum on their side. Despite not having that many fans, despite not having the same atmosphere that we've seen in the previous games against BYU and USC, Marquette appears to be in the driver's seat, and they'll look to close it out in set 4.
We're gonna take a very quick break right now as we head into set 4. Marquette with the 2-1 lead here at the Al McGuire Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Stay with us. We will be back in just a few moments. We are back for set number 4. Marquette leads 2-1 against the Syracuse Orange. If you're just joining us now, I'm Chris Reisner. Alongside me is color analyst Jack Phillips. One thing I love about volleyball, Jack, is how calm and how loose these players stay. This is a tightly contested game, set number 4, and yet they're all dancing, high-fiving, having a good time, jumping around.
It's a good way to stay loose if you're a volleyball player, but I can see why Marquette would be dancing around. They just won a crucial set, but Syracuse continuing to have that positive attitude, heading into a crucial set 4.
To kick off this 4th set will be Anna Hawk, the senior from Sweden. Hits the net as it goes over and just unable to adjust is Syracuse, so Marquette scores the first point. They strike first in the 4th set. Set to Witherspoon, and Witherspoon winning with an impressive kill. That's her 8th of the match. Now it will be Bolin. Dug by Hawk. Tipped over by Barber, but it's recovered, and Shermanova records the kill. She has been dominant. 19 kills on 31 attempts. That's almost a 60% hit percentage.
If you're a Marquette fan, you have to love the effort from Kanavidov, putting her body on the line to try and get that dig. Just a little too short there for her.
Bolin. Barber connects. And a net violation. Point Marquette.
Now, Chris, do you think we'll see sort of a similar tale of set 2 here in set 4 with all the net violations and service errors?
I hope not. I'd prefer to see a clean technical game, but those net violations kind of always just disrupt the energy and the flow. Set up to Shermanova, and she sails it out. I know that went out of bounds, Jack, but Shermanova has been so impressive all game, just the power she puts on it.
There's no such thing as a change-up to her.
Absolutely not. She's not looking to score a point. She's looking to punish the other team. And diving save there from Kanavinov, and it goes. The referees are going to discuss there could be a possible net violation.
Now, it looked like Jenna Rosenthal signaled for a net violation, but we really don't know.
It was tough to see. They always play so close to that net. And it is going to be point Marquette, net violation on Syracuse. So that diving save for Kanavinov doesn't go to waste.
Syracuse does not like the call. Both the coach and Bolin appear to be trying to engage in some form of conversation with the referee.
You see players do this, Jack, in all sports, and what percentage of the time do you think arguing with the official will result in them changing their mind?
I'd give it a 1 out of 100. And that's being generous.
Set up to Ibenguese, and she gets another kill. That's her 8th.
And maybe it's just me, but Syracuse on that last play, they seemed like that was a frustration slam. Especially just it looked like they seemed very upset after that last net violation call, which they definitely disagreed with.
Yeah, Ibenguese has a bit of a fire in her eyes when she plays. I've noticed probably 3 times in this game, she's kind of just smacked the ball even after the play in sort of emotion and frustration and passion. So she plays with her heart on her sleeve as Barber goes for the kill. Kept alive. And Shermanova is rejected at the net. Nice play there.
Shermanova looked like she was about to start trying to play a little bit of soccer on her.
Yeah, that is legal to keep the ball alive with your feet. You don't see it too often. Call it a kick save. Quite rare in volleyball, unless you're playing kick volleyball, but Bolin keeps it alive. Nice diving dig. Shermanova. And Rosenthal with the tip. Blocked at the net by Ibenguese. And on the floor was Sarah Rose. Tried to wing it over with one arm, but unable to do so. So it's 5-4 Marquette in this fourth set. Shermanova goes back to serve. Some nice diving efforts here on both ends as Mosier is met by Shermanova. And a bit of a miscommunication there. I think Rosenthal was trying to be a decoy, expecting Mosier to recover for the kill, but Mosier thought Rosenthal was going to take it herself.
It was a lose-lose situation too. It looked like it was a little, this setup was a little too close to the net. So it was either you let it go, losing a point, or you get the net violation, losing a point as well.
And now a couple points in a row for Syracuse as they're seeming to get a little pep in their step, now reclaiming the lead, 6-5. Shermanova to Hawk. And unable to convert as Rosenthal. She went for the tip shot, but was met right at the net. So point Syracuse, that's 3 unanswered, and results in a timeout by Coach Ryan Tice. So in this back and forth affair right now, it's Syracuse 7-5 early in the fourth set.
You know, one thing I've noticed with Syracuse, and I noticed this before the USC Marquette game on Friday night, when they were playing BYU, despite losing pretty brutally to that team, each of the reserves during each timeout, they do at least 3 laps or 3 back and forths on the court to stay loose. And it's interesting just because I haven't seen any other teams in this invitational do that yet. Something interesting to note.
That is something you do see occasionally in volleyball. Players moving around, staying loose during timeouts. It's quite the opposite of basketball, where coaches usually demand their players come and sit down, get some water. Sending out on the court for Syracuse is Ibenguese, Bolin, Trotter, Shermanova. Back to serve is Shermanova again. And a powerful shot is kept alive, sent back over. Marquette will have a good chance to capitalize. Kept alive again. Rose to Mosier, and Mosier sails it out of bounds. So net violation on Syracuse. So that's point Marquette.
And Marquette caught a break on that one. Definitely a close call there.
Wirch sends it over. And a bit of a jump ball situation there when you've got it, no, I've got it. Rosenthal met at the net, and Karakazi comes away victorious in that situation. Ibenguese taking her time. Serves it out of bounds, so a service error for Ibenguese. We hadn't seen too many of those this set. Rosenthal and Witherspoon Tips it over. Mosier is met by Witherspoon, but the block goes out of bounds. Witherspoon originally from Chicago. She went to Lincoln Park High School. And with that block, you could say she tried so hard, but in the end, it didn't really matter.
Okay, Chris, I'm gonna ask the obvious question. Was that a Lincoln Park reference?
That, Jack, was a Lincoln Park reference as Syracuse gets the point.
You know, I almost decided just to let it slide. I almost just said, you know what, I'm just not even gonna bring it up, and then just to see if you'd be like, hey, you're not gonna ask, but.
I communicated that one might come up earlier, and you jumped the gun on the first reference. It's okay, it happens. Sarah Rose sets up Orff, I believe. Nice tandem play there as Marquette reties the game at 9. Speckman. Shermanova tips it over. Konavanov to Barber. And Barber gets a kill. Her 12th of the game. She leads Marquette in kills.
Now, if we're going to go back to Witherspoon, and we've talked about double sport athletes or two-sport athletes, you know, Witherspoon actually played center for Syracuse basketball when she was a freshman last year, but now she's staying strictly on the volleyball team.
I believe it at 6'4". And she's obviously, based off what we've seen, quite the athlete. And Barber again. She's so good at, with that power and precision on that cross-court kill. She has it down. And it'll be another timeout taken by Syracuse. 11-9 Marquette, set number 4. Marquette trying to close out the game in this 4th set. Syracuse trying to stay alive and force a 5th set. Casual atmosphere here on this Sunday afternoon. Football is getting started today. One thing we wanted to note is a player on Syracuse actually has a bit of a Wisconsin connection. Ashley Vanderman.
And do you want me to tell everyone the connection?
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Thank you, Chris. But it's actually funny, Vanderman played football for not only Kansas City, but Wisconsin's own Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, her uncle, Vanderman's uncle.
And that's actually perfect timing because tonight is the start of the NFL, or technically it was Thursday, but now Sunday football is back in the NFL, and it's actually the hometown rivalry of Green Bay and Chicago tonight.
Will be a fun one to watch as we resume play. Speckman gets the ace. And that is a big energizer to get an ace in this potential closeout set for the Golden Eagles. Speckman again. Up and over. Kept alive by Konavanov. Rejected at the net, but Marquette keeping it alive, back over. And just barely goes out of bounds. Good eyes there from Bolin.
From our angle, it looked pretty in bounds, but again, we don't necessarily have the best angle on that play.
Yastrub to serve. Speckman to Hawk, and Hawk with authority finds a crease in the defense down that center lane. 13-10 Marquette. Hawk after that kill will take it to serve. Set up to Shermanova, and when she gets a setup that good and a hit that hard, there's not much you can do on the other end. $20 kills now for Polina Shermanova. Beckman to Orff. Tipped up and over by Levanova. Barber. Too much to handle with the fastball.
It was very fast. My goodness, that was a Levanova fastball.
Yeah, you don't want to see that coming at you.
And now again, we see Hope Wirch, Jenna Rosenthal, and Allie Barber in the lineup at the same time. Definitely something scary for the Orange.
And Ibenguese is rejected. Levanova hits it over. Set up to Barber. Barber tips. Easily recovered by the Golden Eagles. Hit up high by Speckman. Konavanov over to Barber. Barber just has to set it over. And a nice tip shot there by Ibenguese, showing off the awareness. She saw an opening in that back right corner and dropped it in.
Ibenguese, it's actually interesting because, you know, early in the game we talked about how Marquette was going to have to get it over the middle blockers, try to expose the middle, but Ibenguese doing the similar type of thing, except this time finding the back right corner, the exposed area of the Golden Eagles.
Rosenthal. When she gets off that timing with that 1 foot, it almost reminds me of a baseball player when they're making a play at short and they go off that 1 foot leap and throw to first. She gets so much power on that, just so difficult for the defense to handle. Rose, serve is barely kept alive. Shermanova tips it over, gets a piece of it, but it doesn't matter. Point Marquette.
Marquette now only 9 points away from burying the Orange.
16
I tried
12.
so hard. I tried so hard. I was like, you know what? If Chris Reisner can give puns, or if Chris Reisner can, if he can do it, then I can do it too. And I say, you know what? I tried. It didn't work. My point being, they're only 9 points away from winning this match, and the stakes are high. Trying to go 2-1 of the Golden Eagles, trying to avoid the 0-3 of the Syracuse Orange. You have to wonder what both coaches are saying in each of their huddles.
Yeah, I think if you're Ryan Tice, you're got to be telling your players not to let up. On the other end, if you're Coach Yellen, got to keep your players composed and not give up at all late in this game, even though they're in jeopardy of falling.
You know, if you're Coach Yellen, you might as well be yelling at your team.
Okay, Jack.
1 for 2 on the day. Jack Phillips batting .500. I'd take that average.
I get with the puns, maybe it's a little bit of a anything you can do, I can do better. We like to have fun here on our job broadcasting. If you're tuning in late, Marquette leads 16-12, leading 2 sets to 1. Looking to close out this match in the 4th set. They're up against the Syracuse Orange, who ironically are in the white. Rose serves, and Shermanova is blocked. What a block there.
This is the most hyped up we've seen the Golden Eagles probably in the entire match. They know how important this set is. They know they're so close, yet will it be so far?
They give credit on the block to both Wirch and Rosenthal. Each of them have 3. Nice serve there, is barely kept alive. Konavanov lobs it up to Wirch, and Wirch delivers. Hope Wirch. We've talked about how vital she is. She does a little bit of everything for this team. Can play in the front, can play in the back. 18-12 Marquette, 7 points away from closing it out. The serve hits the net, and you could say fortunate, but sometimes, Jack, it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. Sarah Rose with the ace.
And right now, reminiscent of set 1, Marquette pulling away. They're up by 7 now in the 4th set, similar to what we saw in set 1.
And Rosenthal rejects. Tipped up again to Rosenthal, tipped over. And it's Ibenguese unable to finish off the kill. So a commanding 8-point lead for Marquette in potentially the final set.
And it's going to be very difficult to blow this lead if you're the Golden Eagles.
Coach Yellen will make a change, bringing in the outside hitter, Anastasia Gorlina. Trying to stack the height, it seems, at the front.
The former 2017 Hofstra ASICS Invitational All-Tournament team member.
Powerful shot is kept alive by Kanavanov, and Mosier connects, but it's rejected. Mosier again, and this time she delivers. Madeline Mosier extending this Golden Eagle lead 21-12, 4 points away from a match victory. And right now you've got to think Marquette is feeling themselves a little bit ready to put this one away. Trotter. And a bit of a hammer fist there from Ibengwese.
And again, we saw it in set 3 when, or maybe, yeah, it was in set 3 when they got the net violation call reversed, and it ended up being a Marquette point. But Ibengwese goes up with such a ferocious attitude and really just punches the ball home.
It's Shermanova. Syracuse not giving up just yet. Rose to Rosenthal. And the block attempt goes out of bounds. 22-13 Marquette. Hope Wirch to serve. Shermanova. Rosenthal just tips it over. Diving dig from Bolin. Kanavanov up to Rose, to Rosenthal. And what a shot from the senior, Jenna Rosenthal.
10-point lead. Rosenthal extends that lead to even more, to the double digits finally. And the perfect placement in the back right corner. Almost ready to polish this one off.
Trotter. With a nice set, it's Hawk. And sails just out of bounds. Point Syracuse. Still quite the deficit to overcome. It would be a shocker if they can do so. Ibengwese to serve. Takes a few deep breaths. Hawk. And Rosenthal cleans it up. Hawk went for the kill. It just barely went over, and Rosenthal said, I got your back.
And all the Marquette fans on their feet for the match point. Just to note for Syracuse, they would have to go 10 unanswered points to even force a double digit.
Match point for the Golden Eagles. And they aren't able to get it as Witherspoon gets the kill.
Well, they're 1 down, 9 to go on unanswered points. A long way, but anything's possible.
Stranger things have happened in sports history, but it's a commanding deficit, not exactly insurmountable. It will be Karakazi trying to keep this game alive, and Orff finishes the deal as Elizabeth Orff gets the final kill as the Marquette Golden Eagles win the game, and they beat Syracuse in this last game of the Marquette Invitational. Some final stats for you. It was Polina Shermanova leading the way for Syracuse with 20 kills. Behind her was Ibengwese with 10, Witherspoon with 9. For Marquette, Allie Barber led the way with 14 kills. Close behind with Jenna Rosenthal. Elizabeth Orff with 8, Hawk with 7, Hope Wirch with 6, and Madeline Mosier with 5. So a 4-set victory for Marquette. Would you say, in overall, this Marquette Invitational was a successful weekend for this squad?
I think it was one of the most successful weekends in their program history. They beat a top 10 team, forced a 4-set game with BYU, the 3rd best team in the nation, and overall dismantled the Syracuse Orange. Went going 2-1, forcing the Orange to 0-3 in the Invitational. It can't get much better than that. The only way it could have been even better is if they had beat BYU, but even that would have been a very hard feat to overcome. Good for the Golden Eagles. They stay home, in this case, pretty happy.
Absolutely. And before we sign off for this broadcast, former colleague mentor of mine kept up a tradition thanking everyone, and he would often use the phrase, it takes a village, and that's true with these broadcasts. So thank you to everyone that made this possible. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our leader at TV, Tara Schumel. Thank you to our production team, Tom Hillmeyer, Alex Langosh, Mallory Winkler, Sam Lee, Marlene Martinez. Thank you to our scorekeeper, Dan Abington. Thank you to all our volunteers that helped out and made this thing possible. No job goes unnoticed. Last but not least, thank you for my man Jack Phillips sitting here next to me. And signing off, the next time we will have a broadcast will be Friday as Wisconsin comes here at the Al McGuire Center to face off against Marquette. Thank you again for tuning in. I am Chris Reisner. Be the difference and have a good afternoon, everybody.